Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records. The One Scene unites in the Panhandle, Saturday, May 18th. From Within Records, Spring 2024 Showcase. Magnitude, Malice at the Palace, Seed of Pain, Envision, Worn, Collateral, Dimension 6, Statement of Pride, Burning Strong, and Milestone. This will all be taking place at the Handlebar. Grab tickets while you still can. Head over to FromWithinRecords.com and you can thank me later. All Due Respect Demo 2 tapes are available. Head over to the From Within Records web store and grab one while supplies last. If you're not following From Within Records on social media, please go boot up Twitter, go boot up Instagram, click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band or for your business, please hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or if you want to get in contact with them, please email them contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. Before we get into today's guest, I just want to say thank you for the support on the exclusive X vlog, right? Seltzer came to town. It was awesome. It was fun. So I appreciate everyone who tuned in. It was fun, and we'll be doing more of those throughout the year. But on today's episode, we had to track down our friend Paul, plays in a band called Missing Link. And this is something that was bittersweet. I'm very happy that Paul took the time to come on the podcast, but this is something that we had scheduled for LDB. I had bought new equipment and I was excited to test it out and use it. But it just wasn't in the cards, right? Like we talked about, there wasn't really anywhere quiet enough in the building, surprisingly, right? This is a giant pavilion, but the music was so loud that we could not escape it. So just, things were just out of our control, but we still wanted to get it done. So I'm very happy Paul was able to do it over Discord, which was fun. I love Discord. Add me on Discord. But it was great. I was happy to be able to talk about our experience at LDB this year, Missing Link news, which is pretty exciting. So hopefully you tune in and hear that and get excited just like I did. And we get to talk about, Paul's journey through hardcore. And it was awesome. It was very interesting. And I think I let my inner Recon fanboy, get out there a little too much. But I'm happy Paul was down to hear about it. But it was awesome. I'm happy Paul came on. It was a fun conversation. So if you're listening to this and you're not familiar with Missing Link, please go boot up Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Tidal, Bandcamp, whatever. Go search out Missing Link. The latest release, the 2 Cent Circus, is awesome. If you're here in 2024 and you've never heard of Recon, do yourself a favor and go listen to Recon. They're awesome. And also, if you've never heard of World of Pain, shout out to San Diego Hardcore. Awesome band. But please listen to all those bands and then come back here and listen to Paul and I chop it up. Very fun conversation. So please strap in, enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome Paul to the show. All right, and we're recording. Welcome to the podcast. Paul, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy that we're here talking. Obviously, I had reached out to you a while ago to set up an in-person thing for LDB, not realizing like how hectic and loud it was going to be. So I'm bummed that it didn't work out in person, but I'm happy that we're able to make it work today.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So we'll get to LDB, but I'm just curious about you because you play in Missing Link, and also I saw that you also play in World of Pain and Recon.
Yeah, I mean, I've played in a bunch of bands over the years, but I guess the ones that did anything, I guess, or whatever, were I started out touring a bunch with Recon. That's like I'm slated as the original guy, drummer or whatever for that band. They actually did have a drummer before me for like a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And then the entirety of the band has just been like me and my buddy Mike. And then I played a World of Pain because I lived in San Diego for a number of years, and then do Missing Link too.
Oh wow!
But I play in a bunch of other bands too. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm curious about how'd you end up in San Diego of all places?
So I guess the long story is I was touring with Recon, and then I actually used to fly out to Reno, Nevada pretty often to fill in for that band AFB a long time ago.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so I was going out there a bunch, and then every time Recon would tour, we would like spend time in San Diego. We'd play at like Soma or like the Mac, like way back when, and stuff. And so I'm from upstate New York. I'm from like the Albany area. And then I moved to Buffalo, New York. I lived there for a couple years, and I played in this band Goodbye Cruel World there, and I would play in Rhinoceros too, that band. And then I was just like, fucking, I'm gonna go to San Diego because San Diego's rad. And that was really about it. So I rode my motorcycle there.
That's wild. And how long were you in San Diego?
Like 5 years, maybe a little less.
Okay, that's awesome. San Diego is cool. I feel like they've always had an awesome thing. There's always great bands from coming out from that area. Obviously, like Take Offense, legendary band, and then even like what they have going on today with like the younger bands like Hereditary, Bent Blues doing cool stuff. So
I mean, Mongrel. That's
oh yeah, that band is insane.
That's 3/5 World of Pain right there. So.
Yeah, and they just I saw them at the Midnight Hour a couple months ago, and they're insane.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And why did you end up leaving San Diego?
At the time I was married, and my ex-wife wanted to leave. Really, no, that was really it. There was really no reason. I live in Western Mass now. That's where we moved to. Because I have a bunch of friends here from over the years of, just whatever. And then I just kind of picked a spot, and this was it.
And did you ever have any thoughts of like going back to New York?
No, not really, man. I love Buffalo. If I were to move back to the state of New York, it would be to Buffalo. I love Western New York. But upstate, that's like where my parents live and stuff still, and my sister's there. I wouldn't go there. It's a little too up there.
Yeah, I want to go up there eventually to check out what hardcore's like up there, because I've been to Long Island,
it's different.
Been to the city, but I want to like kind of like work my way up and like make a stop in like the Hudson Valley, and then kind of get to the top.
Yeah, it's I mean, now I'm sure it's like way different. I'm in my mid-30s though, so like when I was living in upstate and going to shows, and Recon was doing its thing, and even before that, when I started I started going to shows when I was like 11, like really, really young.
That is young.
It was a very, very different place. It's very different. That's for sure.
That's crazy. And how'd you find out about shows at 11?
So my brother is 1 year older than me. We were into like skateboarding and stuff like that. Like we'd see it on TV and stuff. But the only like piece of music I had was a Huey Lewis and the News cassette tape that like I think my aunt gave it to me, and LL Cool J single cassette tape. And then I was riding the bus home with my friend who I just like talked about. I didn't even really skateboard. I just talked about skateboarding. I thought I did, but like not like seriously. My friend had a CD who it was his older cousins, and he let me listen to it, and it was an Earth Crisis CD. And I didn't know like what it was. I didn't know what the band was called. I just saw that it was Earth Crisis Gomar Season Ends, and I was like, oh, that sounds crazy. And then on the weekend, me and my brother and my dad went to like a used CD store, and I found the Earth Crisis CD. I don't know how I found it, and then I also bought a Pantera Far Beyond Driven. So like I didn't have this big like lead in like a lot of people have to like hardcore or anything. It was just like I thought like skulls and stuff looked cool, and the Pantera CD has a skull with a big drill through it, and that's like their heaviest record. And then Earth Crisis, that record's just incredible. So that was it. And then fast forward maybe like a year or two, maybe a year, about maybe I was 10 when that happened. It was around there, like 10, 11 or something. And then my brother, who was a year older than me, he had a friend who was like a year or two older than him, whose mom like worked in a grocery store and worked with this dude who played in like a metalcore band or a metal band, whatever, and did what we all did when we were probably 16. I thought he was an adult, but yeah, he was probably like 16.
Yeah.
Was just like giving everyone flyers, and gave one to my brother's friend's mom, and was just like, yo, come to the show. And then she brought us to this little bar that like you could still smoke cigarettes inside and stuff like that. And there was a metalcore band playing from my hometown, and that was it. Boom, like went and saw that. I want to say like the next weekend was this big show called Super Jam that they used to do in upstate, that was put on by the college, and that was like Candiria, Indecision, Fahrenheit 451, like a bunch of like older bands or whatever. And that was like they would do Sunday matinee shows like every weekend. That was like from age like 11 on, I was just like going to shows every weekend. That was really it.
That's wild, because that's pretty young, because I didn't get into going to shows until I was like 14. I was like a freshman in high school.
Yeah. It was interesting because like I didn't know that. We were just, me and my brother were just like the little kids, who went to shows, and we didn't really think anything of it. We were just doing our thing. And luckily my parents were pretty cool. They're like old hippies that just were like, make sure you don't get any trouble and you're chilling kind of thing. And we're small. It was a small town too, so it was like not too much going on. And luckily we just it's about where I grew up. It's like about 35, 40 minutes north of Albany. So we got a lot of bleed over of like bands coming through Albany, and then they would like come up, they'd go north a little bit. So there was just like, by the time all my friends who I like skated with, or I played football in school too, like people started kind of like going to shows at like 14, 15, like you were saying. Like me and my brother were already like 4 or 5 years deep. Like we already had a band, we already played shows at like different towns and stuff like that. So
and did like you learning an instrument come before like going to shows, or did that come along with it?
So the long story, I guess, is my two uncles played in like a bar band, and one played drums and one played guitar. So it was like my brother being so close in age to me. He's only like 13 months older than me. Like
Mhm.
he played guitar, I played drums. So in fourth or fifth grade, I joined like the school band or whatever and like learned for percussion.
Mhm.
And I like did that. And he was in like the orchestra, but he got got a guitar and stuff like that. And that was, dude, that was it. That was like, I remember my parents, like, cause we didn't have a ton of money or anything, just being like, oh, we'll like piece together a drum set for you. We'll buy you a snare and then we'll get you like a bass drum. We'll get you like a rack tom or like whatever. I was like, oh, okay. And then it's moved on from there.
That's wild. And how did you and your brother figure out how to like even get a band organized so young?
I don't know. It was literally like like my brother went to junior high because where we grew up, seventh and eighth grade had its own school.
Oh, wow.
That was like the junior high. Yeah, it was they changed it now, but um, it was like they did that. And when my brother went to junior high, he met all these new people or whatever. So we knew some people from my school or from like our elementary school we went to and shit. But like when he went to junior high, he met like our buddy Nick, who we're still friends with to this day. He played in me and my brother's band. We knew this dude Mike. He was the singer, and whoever else like played guitar, and like just literally was like, "Hey, let's start a band." And it was like, "Okay, cool." And that was it. Like we were terrible, but it was like we were trying to cover like Slayer in sixth grade. My brother was in seventh grade, and like old Weezer songs, but they weren't all cover songs. Like we had our own songs, and then we
Mhm.
would do like a cover song, or we would try and cover like Earth Crisis or something like that. And that was just it. We were just like the kind of outliers, and these hella young kids were like going to shows in this like town and upstate, and like me, my brother, and like the couple buddies who were in our band, and that was really about it. Like it just was what it was kind of thing.
And outside of like your group and like your band, were like the other like older people at these shows recognizing you guys and trying
Yeah,
to give
yeah.
you advice?
So my dad, if anybody's ever met my dad, they know like he's pretty like he's so friendly. He's such like a friendly guy. So like he would drop us off, but he would also kind of like meander like outside, you know what I mean? Like meet a
Mhm.
couple people and stuff. But like, dude, it was I think the shows were small enough, and like the dudes setting up the shows kind of realized they're like, fuck, dude, like these kids are kids, like little kids, so um they like looked out for us, which was super cool. Like that's how I found out about like what straight edge was and what this was and what that was. Like literally it was just like going to shows and seeing it happen, type of thing in front of me, and listening to like older people talk about stuff and bands and whatnot and everything. And then we also like there was no music that was like off limits type of thing. We didn't have any sort of like oh, I don't like punk, or I don't like death metal, or I don't like hardcore or oi or like whatever. It was like if it was like subgenre style music, we would just go and like stoke it in type of thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I was when I was younger because I felt
Mhm.
like immediately from like the beginning, I felt like I was like behind because I was like, dude, this whole thing has like existed, but like while I've been alive, like I need to figure this out.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
was like just like trying to soak up as much information and listen to anything and everything that I could at that time,
yeah,
which is fun because I feel like that's how you're supposed to be able to kind of
yeah,
like
man.
like carve like your own like taste, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I like it's cool because like I don't ever really know if it comes out in any music I play, but like you get the pretty like standard. Oh, I listen to like everything, but if like if I look at my CD rack, like at my parents' house, it looks like a fucking bomb went off. It's literally like Incantation to Warzone to fucking, Hatebreed to whatever. Like it's just all over the map type of thing. And my brother kind of leaned more once we kind of got our taste in music or whatever. My brother's kind of leaned more towards like pop punk style of stuff, and and then I leaned more towards like the heavier stuff and everything.
And I'm curious, with like your brother and those like friends early on, are they still around? Do they still go to shows?
Dude, so my brother, actually, shout out to him. He's awesome. He works in the music industry. He's like he actually like a ton of hardcore bands that have endorsements and stuff like that through the company he works for is like through him. It's because of him, and he like runs the show. He's got this big dick swinging job and stuff like that within the. I don't want to put all his business out there, but he's so he like goes to shows. It's pretty funny. He'll like text me every once in a while. Like he's pretty behind the ball, but he's not on stuff. Like he texted me the other day. He's like, you ever listen to that band Regulate? And I was like, yeah, I was like, I was like, played with them a million times type of thing. And he goes, yeah. I was like, why? What's up? Thinking like, oh, maybe they hit him up for an endorsement, because sometimes that happens, and he'll hit me up and be like, oh, do you know these guys or whatever? He's like, no, I was just listening to them. They're pretty sick. I was just like, yeah, man, cool. Like, literally just that. So he still listens to hardcore. My buddy Nick, who played in the band, he still like listens to it. My old band, Recon, played a show like a few right before the pandemic, and he came out to that. So I don't know if he's not like active or anything, but like probably still listens, I would imagine.
Okay. And I'm curious about Recon, because I felt like when Recon came around, like California, I wasn't like I feel like at that stage in like my hardcore career, I just was still like antisocial and just cared about just listening to the music and going to shows and not really like trying to know people. So I just never really knew like the origin of the band. All I knew was like when I stumbled across like this video of you guys playing live and I heard 13 for the first time, I was like, I need to hear that live. I need to mosh to that. That's like all I cared about. And then like you mentioned, like more recently, you guys played a show. So I was always just kind of confused. Like, did they ever hang it up, or are they just, on a hiatus?
No, I mean, we never hung it up per se. The band started in 2004. So like I was still we were still in high school. We did all this touring when bands still had it. Like, I probably sound like such an old fuck, but like, it's not how it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like Missing Link, like my band now, we didn't have to go on tour. We've never been on tour. You know what I mean? But we're still playing cool shit and doing stuff. Like when Recon started, like the only way to like get ahead was you had to tour, So, excuse me. So like Recon just toured and toured and toured like 10 months out of the year from like pretty much 05, right when I graduated high school, till 2009, 2010, something like that. I'm bad with dates, so don't hold me to any of this stuff. But and basically what happened was we did all this touring. Anybody who's done a ton of touring kind of knows it's like it's hard to have like a home life type of thing. Like it was like, can't have an apartment, it's hard to have a relationship, it's hard to do this, do that, So I was like, hey, let's take a break, for the summer type of thing. Let's take the summer off. And then that's when my guitar, Mike, the guitar player, and the band is just me and him. Me and him wrote pretty much everything with influence from other guys that were in at the time. He was like, okay, well, Amir asked me to fill in for them on Warped Tour. And I was like, cool, go do that. And then after that, they were like, hey, they want me to be in the band, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, go do it. I was working at Equal Vision Records in Albany at the time. So I was chilling just home. Like, we didn't like break up or quit or anything. We just like stopped touring. That was really it. And then we play like once a year. I mean, our last show was 2019, March 2019. Right as the pandemic like really popped off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mike is still one of my best buds. We talk all the time. We always talk about putting out new Recon shit and playing show. I think we're gonna play a show this December.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Before we go to this call, I'll show you this. I have a Recon shirt like hanging back here, which I I like. Don't like to wear it too often because it has like, it's like it has like some like glitter in it, and I was like, this can only last for so long. But I really enjoyed Recon because I feel like I've got to see you guys at like a couple different venues out here in Southern California, and just back in like the 2000s, it was just it was always exciting for me to like find a band on like MySpace and then be like, oh shit, they're finally here, like this is so sick.
That was such like a weird time, I feel like, because we would like Recon would like show up to a show in like Alabama somewhere, and like dudes would be like, oh, like you guys are crazy. And I'm like, why are we crazy? Like we're like, we're everybody that was in the band and kind of always in the band was like pretty mellow. And like around a time when like, there's a lot, lots of stuff happening always on like tours and shit like that. And it was always funny, like getting out to California and meeting people and stuff like that. It was just like is a very different time. So it's funny hearing people's stories years after about Recon, because we did an EP and a full length, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do anything. We didn't do. We put out some stuff later, like another EP that I'm not super stoked on, but we did it.
Okay, well, I would like to hear new stuff. If it ever comes out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, me and Mike talked about it kind of recently about doing 3 or 4 songs and just putting it out.
Okay. And was it ever like weird for you guys to kind of see like that hard work pay off? Because I felt like every time you guys came out, it was just like getting bigger each time.
Yeah. It was very cool at the time. Again, like, I don't know how much you like talk to people or anything like that during that time or whatever. I assumed you were going to shows then in the mid 2000s or late 2000s or whatever. But like, there's a lot of people that weren't super cool to kids who were going to shows and stuff that played in bands, and we would have to tour them and stuff like that. And we would always try and be like as like nice as possible and stuff like that. So anytime we came to like a city again and like the show was bigger or we did better, it was just kind of like, all right, like we're doing the right thing by like being, nice to be as nice as we can, when you're fucking 20 years old or whatever. But like, it was definitely interesting to see how everything was going.
Okay. And last thing on Recon, had it been like a week or two ago, there was like that, Twitter thread where it's like, bands, kind of ripping off riffs, and then there was the Recon and A Day to Remember, which which is crazy, right? Because it's like it's
a bit different.
Okay.
No, I was just saying that one's a bit different in my opinion. I think
the who's
did you the story is okay. I'll just give you the whole story.
Okay.
So, Recon always had different members and stuff like that, and we had a bass player for pretty much the longevity of the band. His name's Jerry. He's from Florida. We linked up with him on tour one time, whatever, and so we're writing, we record, we put out the record. Cool. Record does well, this, that, and the third. A Day to Remember was always a band that we met, we probably played shows with, like in Florida. Our bass player knew, our friends down in Florida knew because they're all from the same area, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put that song out specifically. That's just like we all rip off parts. You know, we all rip off riffs. I've rip off drum parts all the time and everything like that. But at the time, that's like a copy and pasted part, you know? Like it's like the part that we had in a song. So at the time it was a big deal. Some stuff was said and things happened or whatever back years and years and years ago. So then this pops up again, and that pops up on my Twitter feed. And I was just like, it's actually a little bit crazier than that. And I was like, because the guys in the band, kind of grew up with the guys in my band, and some, words were exchanged, and it was kind of basically like, well, like we're a bigger band, so fuck you type of thing, from them, not from us. And it was what it was.
Damn.
Funny though.
Crazy. Funny. Yeah. Cause
now my guitar player for Missing Link who's in Pain of Truth is going on tour with him. Full circle.
and that is Nick Hansen.
Yeah.
That is crazy because long time ago I remember hearing those comparisons. I'm like, yeah, that is strange. But then seeing it here in 2024, I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. That's wild.
Yeah, like 15 years too late.
Yeah, that is crazy. But also I did like to see that, like, like where certain band members were coming out and admitting, like, yeah, like I ripped that off, like,
oh my god, yeah, I can't tell you how many riffs have been ripped off in bands that I've played in. Countless.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm a fan of Recon. Like I said, I will show you that. I will show you that shirt, but before we get off here. Okay. But you mentioned Missing Link, which I'm a fan of, and I'm just really curious about that band. How did you guys all link up and decide to start Missing Link?
So Victor, our bass player, started the band. He's from Long Island. I met him through World of Pain, because we would fly out to New York pretty often to do weekends, like Northeast shit. And it was just straight up just a pandemic band. We were just chopping it up, and he's like, hey, I got these songs, like, you want to play on them? I was like, sure. Who's going to do the band? And he was like, me and Evan. Evan played in Separated. And World of Pain did a few weekends. We brought Separated over to the West Coast and stuff like that a couple times, or maybe only once. But we did a few weekends with them and stuff. And I was like, well, Evan's the man, so let's do it. And then Victor's like, I'll get my buddy Nick to play. Victor started playing guitar. Nick started playing bass.
Okay,
that's how and then our buddy Mike, he lives in Rochester. He's a singer. I knew him just because I lived in Buffalo, and he used to play drums in this band Sacred Pledge way back in, we just all kind of knew each other because we were from the Northeast, and we all went to shows all over the place. I think Recon used to play with Victor's old band, way back. Victor and Lumpy is their old band way back in the day. So it's all just kind of, everyone's just kind of connected type thing.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned kind of started off as like a pandemic band. Was there like a point where you guys realized okay, this could actually turn out to be like a thing, like a band that actually does stuff?
No, I'm genuinely shocked every time we get a good reaction or something cool happens, because I just think everybody hates us. I don't know, I don't know. It's when we started the band, I was like, okay, cool. We'll just do this band. And then we put the songs out, and then we're like, okay, we'll play some shows, and then we'll put this EP out. And we put the EP out, and then just kind of I don't know, the ball started rolling or whatever. And I did not expect to do anything with the band. I just expected to put an EP out, put some songs out, and then just go back to work type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice that it's been able to kind of gain some traction, because I think what you guys have put out so far has been awesome. But you guys had that release in 2023. It was the one song in the cover. But I'm curious, are you guys planning on putting out like another EP or a full length anytime soon?
Full length is recorded.
Oh wow!
It's done, mixed, mastered. It comes out. We don't have like a specific date yet, but this summer sometime. Full length, all new songs. I think it's really good.
And are you still sticking with Triple B?
Yeah. Sam's gonna put it out. Yep, Triple B's doing it. We're trying. I think we were trying to get it out before like the end of June. I don't know, something around there.
Mm-hmm. And is there a reason why summer if the record's already done?
Well, I mean, pressing plants and stuff like that,
Okay.
It just takes time, I mean, in theory, sure, we could put it on the internet whenever, but yeah, it's all, I don't know. There's a process, I guess. I don't know shit about putting out a record. So we just kind of we recorded it, we divert everything to, okay, do your thing.
Okay. All right. I don't want to ask too many questions about the record, because obviously it's still a ways away, but obviously there's going to be a proper rollout for it.
I think so. I hope so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And I always like to ask, and I'm always curious. Okay, so you're at this point where we're here, like still pretty early in the year, right? We're like late March, about to be in like early April. Do you take a break like creatively in terms of like writing music, or are you just like stockpiling riffs?
We yes and no. I mean, like right now, just because writing I haven't written a full length since World of Pain did, I forgot what it's called, one of the full lengths that we did.
Okay.
That was the last one. So like writing one sucks. It sucks. It's like you have all this music, you don't know if it's going to be good or not. Like you put it together. Luckily, Evan, our guitar player, used to own a studio, so he recorded like the Separated stuff, all the early Vein stuff. The studio, he had a partner that did the first Pain of Truth like EP and everything like that. So he's really good at like, hey, I got this riff, I'm gonna record it and put fake drums to it and send it to you. Like, what do you think? Like, so we wrote the whole record pretty much that way. And then it was funny when we went to record it. The studio engineer was like, he's like, all right, he's like, you guys like good to go? And I was like, I've never played the songs, I have no idea. So, because like they live on Long Island, I live 2.5, 3 hours away. Mike lives like 6 hours away. So, like getting we've practiced as a full band like 2 times ever. So that was really it. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think right now everybody creatively is kind of like a little toast, because Nick just did a full length for Pain of Truth.
Yeah.
And then he's been bonkers with that shit. And then we did this record. So right now it's just kind of like, all right, let's just play some shows and not fucking write anything or worry about it. Yeah, I'm sure it'll roll again though.
Yeah, take a break from that. Okay, damn, that's wild. Now I'm just like, okay, summer. Now I'm a little more excited for summer. Looking forward to a new record.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was always curious, because obviously 2 songs in 2023, that was nice, but I'm just like a greedy fan. I always want more, especially like when it's something that like I enjoy.
Yeah, sick. I'm stoked. I hope people like it. I was saying something the other day. I was like, I'm in my mid-30s, and I think I wrote my favorite like record I've ever played on, type of thing. Like now, which I'm stoked on. I'm stoked on the record.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that you're stoked on it, and I'm happy that is a full length, because going from like the 2-song thing, now we're getting like a like a full meal, which I'm stoked for. Yeah,
I mean the 2 songs was literally just like I play Call of Duty with Sam like almost every day.
Mhm.
And like we were just talking, chopping it up or whatever. And he's like, "Hey, he's like, what's Missing Link doing?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Oh, he's like, you want to do he's like, you want to put a song out for like a comp or something he was doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I don't think the comp happened, but then he was like, "You want to just do like a 2-song like flexi?" I was like, "Okay, yeah." And then he's like, "Cool." He's like, "You want to do that and then just like do a whole record at some point too?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." So that was really it. That was the only reason why we put those 2 songs out. I mean, we had the song written, we just had to record it, but we just weren't sure what we were gonna do with it, type thing.
Mhm. Well, it was cool that it kind of all worked out, in one
Yeah.
way. And I'm really shocked to hear that. Like, so the whole like career of the band, you guys have really only practiced twice, like all together.
I think it's at most, at the very most, 4 times.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty sure it's 2 or 3, but I might be like missing one somewhere.
And
Which
was one of those practices before LDB?
no, we didn't practice at all.
Interesting. And
Oh,
any nerves or anything in a situation like that because it's such a big stage?
man, I'm probably gonna sound like a fucking loser saying this. I simply don't care.
Okay.
In this way possible. It's hardcore. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting on stage and I look to the left and look to the right, and it's just like all my homies that I see all the time playing shows and shit like that. So like if we fuck up, like you know what I mean? Like I like I don't mean this in like I'm not trying to like sound like a fucking cocky dickhead or anything like that, but like I just like if I fuck up, I'm a like uh we play a lot of shows with Gridiron, right? So like if I fuck up and I look over and like fucking Mully or Carl or something are just sitting there, like they're just gonna be like, and I'm gonna be like, and just like keep going.
Mhm.
Like it's just it is what it is. And also too, like, you know, we have Chris playing guitar for us now too, and he plays an Internal Bleeding. Uh, Evan is just a fucking is the man. Nick's super fucking pro. Like I've played enough shows where like we got it. You know what I mean? Like the strings will get together because they all live on Long Island, so like they'll run the set real quick. But like I'm usually about 95% of the time solid, so we just don't even bother.
Oh, that's wild
I would
because
love I would love to practice if it was easier, but it's like, bro, getting to Long Island from here is a fucking 3.5 hour drive through the worst shit ever. Like, it sucks. So I'd
yeah.
rather not practice and just sound like shit.
Yeah, just figure it out. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
blame you. I hate driving.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's terrible. But okay, want to move on to LDB. We were just
Mhm.
in Louisville over the weekend, and I'd never been there, never been to the
Mhm.
fest, so I wasn't really sure what to expect, and also I wasn't
Yeah.
really sure what to expect from Missing Link, because
Mhm.
your guys' merch table was set up right by the LDB records where I was, and I was
Yeah.
scoping out the merch. I was like, all right, I was like, the shirt with the girl on it looks cool. I'm definitely gonna grab one. And like, I
Yeah.
swear, I went and watched like a couple bands came back, and like everything was gone except for like the jerseys. And I was like what? Like I was tripping out because there was like like Big Boy, Bog, like they had these lines for their merch, but
Mhm.
it seemed like everybody just came and like got it like so fast because you guys had like the
Yeah.
I think like 3 or 4 t-shirt designs, and
Yeah.
I was just really bummed that I didn't get that shirt. It just looked cool from like where I was sitting, and I was like,
Sure.
yeah, I was just tripping out. But how stoked were you to move that much merch, and were you guys even expecting anything like that?
No, I would have printed more if I knew. I played LDB with World of Pain years ago, and it was when it was at a like a bigger style venue, not like a fucking convention hall. You know what I mean? It was
Mhm.
like, you know, maybe like 800 people, not that big, you know? So I don't know. It's weird, man. It's like, I'm sure you see some bands just like get the juice right out the gun. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They
Yeah.
start, they fucking pop off, good for them, like type of thing. And, and it just is what it is. We're not that band. You know, ours is us is slow going. You know what I mean? It's we're playing shows, we're selling 5 shirts. We're playing shows, we're selling 8 shirts. You know what I mean? Type of thing. And um, so going into LDB, what we kind of do is we print smaller numbers of shirts in hopes that we can sell out every show. And that also too, we try not to reprint a lot of stuff. So if like, you know, if you know, if we print a cool shirt, someone makes a big deal and they buy it, whatever, it's just like, well, there's only like 40 of them or 50 of them or whatever. So uh but I wasn't expecting to have a line for merch. Like I haven't had a line for merch since fucking Recon days, you know what I mean, or anything
Mhm.
like that. And it was awesome, man. It was awesome. It was cool to know that kids at least wanted the shit that we got printed, and they wanted it bad enough that they bought it all. And then we sold out of everything except for like a handful of jerseys, which was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and that's awesome to be able to go home with like, you know, less merch boxes than you showed up with.
Yeah. That's the goal always.
Okay. And is there like somebody who's like, you know, who gives like the art direction for your merch, or is it like a collective thing?
Well, funny you say that. That's caused a bit of contention in our band. Mike, our singer, comes up with good ideas when it comes to merch.
Okay.
So like usually again, we don't fucking practice. We're all kind of stupid. So like the idea of like oh shit, we got to get these shirts printed. It'll be like 5 days before the show.
Oh,
Luckily, Austin from fucking, you know, CMI, Buried Dreams, like all those bands, he's only like an hour for me, and that's the homie. So like he's got a fucking print shop. He's killing it, dude. He like I text him a design and he's like, cool, it'll be done in like 2 days. Like, and he's killing it for us, which is great. It's a blessing to have him right there. But Michael usually come up with a design. He'll shoot it to me, like colorways and stuff like that. And I'll be like, okay, cool, that's good. Like I think that'll sell well. And then that's really it. We don't I think if our merch was doing worse at shows and not selling out, we'd probably ask the other guys in the band, like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? But they don't. It sells out, so what are we going to complain about? Type thing.
Okay. And I'm still hung up on that shirt with a girl on it. What was that? Who is that? Where was that taken from, or what was that from?
Is it the stripper shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, you ain't seen Showgirls?
No, I'm really bad with movies. I'm sorry.
That's do yourself a favor. Watch Showgirls.
Okay, Showgirls. All right, I'll add it to the list because of this podcast. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I was also really curious about the jersey. I love when bands do jerseys. So for any band out there who doesn't want to do jersey, I think you're weird. But can you talk about the colorway, which that was interesting because I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, is this like paying homage to something or?
Yeah. So again, Mike is from Western New York. He is from Auburn, New York, or Prison City, whatever you want to call it. That area. Have you ever heard of ever seen those Cabal jerseys? Like Cabal 315?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a straight rip of an old Cabal jersey. That's it. Just a cool colorway, purple, whatever. It used to say 315 Cabal 315 with the other stuff on it. And then Tom Dom, who does Gold Set merch, he's from that area and stuff too. So when he was like, "Oh, I want to do," we saw him at FYA, and he was like, "Oh, I want to do a jersey for you guys." And I was like, "Cool, like let's," Mike was like, "Let's rip this Cabal jersey." I was like, "Okay," like Tom will understand right off the rip because that's his neck of the woods type of thing. So that was really it.
Yeah, those are sick. Yeah, because those definitely popped, and like obviously, walking through like the sea of people, it easily stood out. Whenever I saw one, like I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and shout out Tom Dum. I was standing by the LDB table, and he was walking by, and I don't know him, but he was walking by, and I just yelled forfeit, and he like kind of he like stopped in like his like mid stride and like kind of like turned around and like was like looking to see who screamed it, and I just like pointed at him, and then he just kind of laughed. So I wasn't sure if what that really meant, but I hope he appreciated that, because I love forfeit. Trail of Lies is awesome, but I just wanted to shout at that band.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. He probably appreciated it.
Okay, and shout out Gold Tip Merch. Yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff.
Dude, they fucking killed it, man. It was if you ever want some like dope embroidered thing that's not going to be $1 million, that dude could set you up pretty good for sure.
All right, okay. I love the merch talk, but I'm curious about your experience, because you had been there before. You mentioned back with World of Pain. Had you been there any other times, or was that the only time?
No, that was it. That was just the World of Pain one. That was like we flew in, did that show, and then I think we did like a couple Ohio shows or something like that, and then flew home.
Okay, but I'm just curious about your experience at the fest this year, because I've been like kind of like an outsider looking in, because I've seen all the videos from like when I was in the skate park, and then even I have this a friend Natalie who used to go way back in the day, and I used to trip out because I had no ties to the Midwest back then. So when she was like the only person that I knew from California flying out for this fest that she swore was like awesome, I didn't believe her for the longest time. But obviously she was like ahead of her time, because if you look at the fest now, it's insane. I'm just like blown away at like how awesome that fest was, because it was like I said earlier, it was my first time traveling out there, and just the experience. I'm like all right, like I got to do this again next year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's a thing. Like I've definitely played fests where it just sucks, man. It's just a energy suck. Like the way it's set up, the timing, the everything, whatever. But like, Colin and I believe they weren't going to do it this year. And then Sam, Triple B Sam, and this dude Jake kind of was just like, all right, let's get it rolling. And so Colin and those two just ripped it, and dude, they fucking killed it, man. It's nice because security wasn't super crazy. It wasn't a pain in the ass to like, as a band member, I guess, to get around the venue and get places or whatever, or get people in or what have you, all the bullshit that comes with that. It was just super. And I mean, like, it shows too. I think everyone has a pretty good experience. The show was great. The fucking people were awesome. Like, bands sold tons of merch and everything like that. So it's definitely one of the better ones for sure, I think.
And did you go to both days?
Yeah. I flew in Friday, got in like Friday. I think I got to the venue around like 4, something like that, 3 or 4. Yeah, so I wanted to watch Sanction a lot. I would have gone early. I still go, even in my mid 30s. I'll go to shows. A lot of people who play in bands and stuff like that, they don't still go to shows. They just kind of go to the shows that they're playing. But I still go just to go and kind of hang out and stuff like that. So I would have been there just to. I'm in Louisville. I don't know what there is to do there. May as well go to the show.
yeah. I was just kind of. I'm always kind of just like in awe, because like when I'm in a place that I'd never been before, I'm always just so curious, because I'm like, okay, like I live most of my life in California,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
like surrounded by like some pretty cool stuff. But like when I'm out here, I'm like, oh, like people like this is like their life. So I'm seeing like businesses that like I've never even like heard of before, which I'm like always like curious
Yeah,
about. Like what is that place? And I'm like, you
yeah.
know, just like punishing because I flew out there and stayed with Tyler, you know, from Inclination.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah,
Nice.
and I was just like punishing him like the whole time. I was like, dude, like what is that? Like tell me about that restaurant. And
I mean,
yeah.
dude, that's cool, man. I mean, like that was me when I was 18 in California for the first time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I distinctly remember my whole band in going to Newport Beach. That was like the first beach we got to
Mhm.
in California, and then like, you know, it's a fucking beach, you know what I mean? Just like touching the water and being like, yo, this is, and having that feeling, just kind of being like, this is nuts, dude. Like I'm from upstate, I'm from the Adirondacks, dude. I'm from upstate New York. There ain't shit up there, you know? So it's like the idea that I'm on the other side of the country doing whatever's going on, you know what I'm saying? Like that was crazy. So it's cool that you still kind of like do that when you're in a new spot. Cause
Yeah.
I'm, cause now I'm fucking old and jaded. I've been to Louisville 100 times, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm gonna sit in my Airbnb and like watch Netflix and then go to the show and then go to the casino or something.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a late bloomer when it comes to like experiencing hardcore in different places because I went on
Mm,
tour once, but like it was
okay.
just a string of like California dates, Arizona, and like Las Vegas,
Okay.
which was awesome. Like you know I'm very grateful you know for that time,
Yeah.
but it wasn't until I became like an adult where I started actually traveling and getting to experience hardcore like outside of my normal scene. So
Hmm.
yeah, so it was, so like, I just try to appreciate those times more because it's like, all right, like I've been in hardcore for so long, but like I'm barely getting out to these other scenes that have existed for just as long as I've been around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's dope. It's definitely a different thing. I mean, way back, the whole fest thing now is like pretty interesting to see. Of it's like an event for people, like it's an event literally, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's like more of a. It's not just like I'm going to a hardcore fest. It's like, oh, I'm going to, this is hardcore weekend. I look forward to this all summer type of thing, and you know, I get to go to Philly, and I love Philly. I want to go eat at this place or eat here or do this, and it's cool to see. I think it's cool to see that so many people like love the travel aspect of it, you know?
Yeah, I like it's awesome, but then I always realize like, wow, there's not enough time because there's so many people that I saw that I
Mm,
wanted to talk to, but it's like, I had you know, I was helping with the table, or it's
yeah,
like, you know, Koyo's about to hit the stage. There's no way I'm missing Koyo.
yeah.
You know, just stuff like that. Like, and this lineup, I hated that there were so many good bands that I wanted to see. So I was
Yeah,
just like, shit, I can't. There's no time to do anything. I was like, I
yeah,
like this is crazy.
yeah. Yeah, they killed it, man. I mean, the fest was great. All the bands were great, even if it's like, you know, even if it's like a band I've never heard of or a band that I don't necessarily listen to or whatever, like everything sounded so good. Every band sounded so good and everything like that. You know, it was like it was nice. It was cool. I had a good time.
Yeah, you know, I was really fascinated by the Twitch stream, right? Because I didn't,
Mm,
because
yeah.
yeah, because you know, it's like I knew that they had been streaming on Twitch, but I didn't understand like the level of like production that they were doing for Twitch. Because
Me either. I had
um,
no idea.
yeah, because like behind the main stage, when I saw like the guys at like the control boards, like everything there, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is like, because like I'll do Twitch from like where I'm sitting right now, but I just
Yeah,
have like
sure.
my one camera, my little you know, mixer where I can like scene switch, but like, you
Mhm.
know, they're doing like this whole crazy operation because you know they had like 4 or 5 laptops and like this
Yeah.
giant like board, and like I just have my
Yeah, that
really
shit
nice
was crazy.
computer, and yeah, it was just mind blowing. I was like, wow, this is insane. I was like, maybe I need to step it up. It kind of like
And
inspired me.
what's funny is like this was always, I probably rant and rave about this all the time. But I hate when people film in like the grainy like old school filter. You know what I'm
Okay.
talking about? Like people take a video and it'll look like it was recorded on a VHS, and like it'll just look like shit and it'll sound like shit. And it's like we fucking when I was a kid, dude, I wanted to see whatever band I wanted to see. You know what I mean? I like so bad. And when YouTube first started coming out, you would or like shit. I remember like Strife was a big band that I listened to when I was a kid or when I was younger. I still listen to Strife, but like they had like a VHS. Earth Crisis had a VHS and shit, and I would watch it, and it sounded terrible, and it looked pretty bad, and it was just like fuck. And now we got multi-camera fucking 4K Twitch streams for little Jimmy to sit his ass at home in fucking some other country somewhere across the world who wants to see like Twitching Tongues play or something like that. And like they could see it in real time when it's happening, multiple camera angles. You can see all of us fucking stage potatoes up there just standing. Like it's fucking rad. I think that shit's super rad. That shit is awesome. And then that's the only thing I get nervous about is when I'm sitting my fat ass up on stage, like behind my drum set, I'm like, fuck, dude, there's all these cameras. Like, I probably look stupid right now, or I'm going to make a dumb face. And I saw a video and it just looked like I was in pain the whole set. So I was like, fuck, dude, I look so stupid.
Yeah. You being up there on stage. Yeah, I forget because I was like strategically like positioning myself behind Jeff feet first because I was just up there on his side of the stage, and it is crazy because I was like looking out and obviously seeing like the camera that's like got like the wide shot, and then just knowing like how many cameras were on stage, it was just I was like this is wild, and it's not like what I was expecting at all, because I just assumed they just had like one, maybe two cameras, but I was not expecting that level of production, which is crazy.
Me either, like at all. I thought I was what I didn't even realize when I first got there and I saw all the monitors and shit behind the stage with the computers and stuff going. I was like, what are these guys doing? And then later I was like, oh fuck, that's the Twitch stream shit. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. And I watched some bands like just back there because I was like, I was just curious of how they were gonna, produce it for Twitch, and it was really cool just to be able to watch it from like that vantage point.
I wonder if there was a delay or anything. I'm sure there was.
Yeah, I think for like most streams, like that's like the vibe, just in case something crazy happens. Yeah. There was like, there's that clip that somebody got of the person getting knocked out during Gridiron set. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and I just had so many questions. Like, was that person who got knocked out, did they just have like a really bad like chin? Had they been knocked out before? It was,
man. I don't know. I've been knocked out plenty of times at shows, and it happens. I've been hit super fucking hard, thinking I was gonna like go down. When I'm younger, I don't fucking do that. But like, thinking I was gonna go down and like not, and then I've definitely just caught like something like perfectly, and gotten smoked before for sure. But yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy too because it's all like laughs and jokes on the internet. But I remember like it happened, and then just the weird vibe of like, okay, does Gridiron continue their set, or do they have to stop? It was like because
you always keep it pushing. You don't stop, dude. Come on. Like, again, I might be the old geezer like guy or like whatever, but like hardcore shows are violent places. You know what I mean? It's in theory controlled violence, but it's a violent place. So when violent things happen, like fucking scoop them out of the way and get them to where they ever need to go, and then just keep it rolling. It's if someone gets knocked out, get them out of the way. If there's a fight that happens, just squash it and don't stop playing. Because it just makes it weird. It's always when someone gets knocked out and there's a big pause, or if someone gets hurt or something like that, which there's this big stop. It always fucks the vibe up. You know, it always screws with it, I think.
Yeah, I wish they would have just kept going, because like the awkward, like, oh, do we stop or do we continue?
I mean, it was like the end of the song.
Yeah,
you know, but like it just happened to happen at the end of the song, and then you know, I mean, yeah, sure, I just would have probably gone into the next song, but they did pretty much.
Yeah, and there was one of the staff members. I do not know her name or her Instagram, but I remember seeing it on my Explore page. She was like one of the medical people, and she like posted like the stats of like all like the injuries, and
oh yeah,
there were 0 deaths. So I'm like, okay, cool. So like I feel like it wasn't that
W
bad
right there, dude.
Yeah, because I can't remember who it was. Was it maybe during Harm's Way? I was going to the bathroom and I saw this guy. It looked like he broke his neck, and he was getting carried out by like 6 people, and it just looked really scary. And I was like, I'm just trying to go to the bathroom. I don't want to see this guy who looks like he's like paralyzed. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, if you're around long enough, you're gonna see some shit. Like it was a lot worse 15 years ago. I'll tell you that much. That's for sure.
100%. Yeah, I moshed one time. Weapon X did a First Blood cover. And,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right. I was like, I'm 35. I was like, I could get in there and get hurt. I might regret this later, but this song is too good, and
it'll be worth California. That's like a requirement.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm never I never get mad when there's like, you know, when shit happens like that, because you should know that it's a possibility. Like when I jumped in during the First Blood cover, like I don't expect to not get hit. I don't expect that I'm like, you know, invincible. It's like I'm putting myself at risk just by stepping in there.
I mean, it's a tale as old as time, man. If you don't want to get hit or whatever, you know, just don't go. That's why I stand on stage. I don't want some fucking fresh 18-year-old dude who's all jacked up to be fucking jumping on me and being gross and stuff like that. I want to get out of the way, but I still want to see my fucking friend's band play or something like that, you know? So
yeah, I think that's like my biggest like reason why I don't like being in crowds, is having like people just like pushed up on me, just like feeling.
It's funny because like I say it all the time. Like at work, I'm a barber. I own a barber shop, and like I'll be cutting somebody's hair, and like I'll be like, yeah, I don't really like people that much, and they're like, what do you mean? Like you talk to people all day, and they know my life. You know what I mean? They're like, and you play in like bands, and you go and play with all these people and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah. Be in my own little world around a bunch of people, I guess, or something.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in the same way. I'm not like, sometimes I'll say like I'm antisocial, but it's just like I feel like when I'm out, I just like to do what I'm whatever reason I left my house, like I just want to get it done. Or if I'm like at a show, it's like, all right, like I only have so much of like a social battery, and sometimes I just want to save it for people that I actually want to interact with, but then sometimes people will come and try to like, you know, suck your energy, and it's just like, you know, it's a very tricky game when I step outside.
Right.
Yeah, like this Saturday, there's a show happening in Pomona. There's a new band. And I don't want to say like a super band, but maybe, I don't know. It's like a bunch of dudes, and I don't even know them. But they play in a lot of bands from out here, but they have a new band called Load the Nine. And the best, the best way I can describe them is they kind of sound like Gridiron. I hope they don't take offense to that. But I think it's fucking sick, and it's their first show. So I'm like, all right. I was like, there's gonna be a lot of people that I don't know, and a lot of people that I don't want to know, but I really want to see this band because I really rock with what they have out. They only have like 3 songs, so
sure.
Yeah, and also I want to go support, because if it's a new band, you know, I want to check them out, and if they're good live, it's like, all right, cool. Like we need you can never have enough good bands from your area, so it's like,
sure, yeah.
If it's able to translate live, I just want to wish them success and be able to experience it live, because I enjoy it, but yeah. But go ahead.
Do you live right in LA or?
No, I live in Anaheim, like near Disneyland.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. My brother lives in Glendale. So he's been there for like 12 years or something like that.
And this is the same brother from earlier?
I only got one.
Okay. Interesting. Glendale. Yeah, I don't really spend too much time out that way. I normally try to just stick to Orange County because, dude, it's like driving out here is dangerous.
I mean, I lived in San Diego for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
My brother, who I talked to pretty much every day, I went and visited him like maybe twice. I don't want to fucking drive up there. It's a nightmare, dude.
Yeah, especially when you got to take the 405.
Yeah, you take 405, or you just hop right on the 5 or something like that, and then you're just getting shit on the entire time, basically.
Yeah, because and just like I used to go to San Diego a lot. I used to go to Chula Vista. So from here in Orange County to Chula Vista, it's like, all right, like I have to leave at a certain time to just get ahead of traffic, because if I get caught in the traffic like that, 2-hour drive could easily turn into like 3.5, 4.
Oh yeah. What were you doing in Chula? I used to live there.
Oh really? Oh, I used to date this girl back in the day.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which
I love Chula Vista.
Yeah, shout out the CVHC.
Yep.
It was nice. It was like I would go like every other weekend, so it was just like because obviously like I love Orange County. It's nice out here. I've lived here for a really long time, but it's always nice to kind of just switch it up.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, but San Diego. I'm trying to think the last time I went to San Diego. It's been a minute. Yeah,
I was there. We did we played. When was the last time I was there? I think it was for the toy drive, because we played the toy drive.
Mm-hmm.
We did that. Yeah. I am not a huge LA guy. I don't have a good time whenever I'm there. I'm just like, fuck, dude, it's like too much going on. So I just always fly into San Diego, and then I just like go up to LA if I have to do that.
Yeah, like LA is nice, but it's not for me, right? Like same. Yeah, so like I'll go to LA for like shows or for like K-pop concerts whenever they're in town, but for the most part, I never just go for fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'll be in San Diego, I think. In May for that. Like Bayway, Hold My Own, Out of Pocket, Fool's Game. They have a run in Southern California. I think they're playing.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, they're playing Rapid Fest, I think, or maybe I'm mixing it up. But then they're playing LA and then San Diego.
Where are they playing in San Diego? Probably the Che or something.
I want to say the Che.
Yeah.
I can look this up real quick, but
yeah, we did that. We did that Twitching Tongue show in LA, and then we played the next day at the Che with Mongrel, and that show was fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is at the Che.
Nice.
Where was the Twitching Tongue show at? I'm trying to remember.
It was excuse me. It was their like first like LA show, just with like them headlining or whatever at what's that, 17 whatever's
1720.
1720.
Mm-hmm.
It was that one there. It was like MS Paint played, Twitching Tongues, I forgot who else. My memory is so fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great show. It was a fucking awesome show.
Yeah, I'm just happy that.
Cruelty played.
Oh, shout out Japan.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that we've gotten so much Twitching Tongues in like the last year, because there was like this very long drought. So the fact that they've played so much, it's awesome.
That was a band I always like. I mean, like Taylor recorded all the World of Pain stuff, but I always liked that band. I thought they were dope. They played this. There was this cool venue in Buffalo called the Funeral Home. That was running for a couple years, and that was like Buffalo was like the popping spot to play for a while. And they rolled through. I don't know what tour it was, but I first saw them there, and I was like, damn, this band's cool. And yeah, they're fucking awesome. Great band.
Yeah. Normally, let me move my head. See that I have this like Twitching Tongues football jersey.
Oh yeah.
I always try to keep that in the frame just out of respect because I'm such a huge fan of that band.
Band rips.
Now I'm curious. Do you pay attention to anything that's going on in Syracuse?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard not to. I mean, my singer lives in Rochester, but Syracuse is an hour from there. Not far. So I see what's going on there usually. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a huge fan of that band, Deal with God.
Yeah, I feel bad. I played with them in Buffalo one time early on with Missing Link, and I know they're like doing cool shit, and they're a cool band. I think they played like 10 minutes from my house, and I didn't know the show was going on, or I would have gone. I think my singer's cool with their singer or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I know they're a cool band. I haven't listened to them. I probably should. I haven't though.
Yeah, no.
We get asked. We get asked to play like Syracuse area, like Western New York area, kind of often. But it's such a fucking like. Everyone lives on Long Island. No, people don't realize this about New York. It's a lot like California. Like from Long Island to like Syracuse, New York is like fucking 7 hours almost. Like, and vice versa. So when people are like, hey, do you want to come play? Like, we got some show offer that was like, if it was on a weekend, it would been a badass show in Buffalo, but it's like on like a fucking Wednesday or something like that. I'm like, dude,
yeah, you're not doing it overnight.
Can't be going. Yeah, hell no. But
yeah,
I try and pay attention to newer bands or bands that are doing shit and stuff. But I'm old. I don't know. I forget.
Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of theirs. And then there's a band from Buffalo called Spaced.
Yeah, I know. Their guitar player in that band. I mean, like Final Declaration. They're from Buffalo too. Yeah. Evan, the singer, he's a homie. He helps us with a lot of our designs and stuff like that. He's like our I'll hit him up and be like, hey, can you just like pop this into Photoshop real quick? He's like, yeah, like make a whole fucking design for you. Yeah, sure, man. And I'll like do that.
Yeah. Shout out Evan, former guest of the podcast.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Evan's a man.
Yeah. And you mentioned, I'm just going down the whole list. You mentioned Rhinoceros earlier.
Yeah.
The singer, he has a pizza shop or owns a pizza shop.
Joe? Yeah, Joe's got many shops. He has Allentown Pizza. He has Vasilis, which is like a Greek restaurant.
Oh wow.
He also owns Buffalo City Boxing. If anybody knows Joe Riverside, he is a fucking ass beater, so he will teach you how to be an ass beater for sure if you go to his gym.
Okay, and I'm just always curious about the quality of pizza because I have had amazing pizza, and I just want to know what else is out there.
Okay, so Western New York again. I love Western New York. I love Buffalo, the city of Buffalo. Like I will put on for them forever, more than my hometown. Western New York has its own like little food scene. So like their pizza's different. It's like a thicker square pizza with these little pepperonis if you eat meat type of thing. You really got to go to experience it, to be honest with you. But Joe's shop's great. He's great wings, great pizza. His Greek restaurant's fucking very good. I eat there almost. He owns it with another buddy of mine, Dustin. The food there is incredible. So
awesome. Okay, and taking it way back, you mentioned AFB. I'm not sure, how many kids these days are familiar with AFB. But being like a lifelong straight edger, getting to experience AFB in real time and living through the Seventh Dagger era, which people might not even know about. I always thought it was awesome. Like people today might look back at that and think it's corny, but I liked a lot of those bands, and even like I just saw today, like X Tyrant X is playing a show, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So just like whenever there's like when any of those bands pop up, I always think back fondly of that era of hardcore, because I just it was just a group of people who were proud to be straight edge and wrote some cool music.
Yeah, that was kind of one of those things where, like I said, I've been in a bunch. I did some time in the Mongoloids too. I played in the Mongoloids for a little bit.
Oh, really?
So it was like, we were playing. Recon was playing in California quite a bit, and we would play shows with AFB. And then we just kind of clicked. We were just homies. Like, they were on the same level as we were, just with like being goofy or whatever our personalities were at the time. And so they needed a drummer. So they started flying me out there just to fill in for them all the time. So I did. I can't even. I don't know how many tours I did with them, but it was a lot. And I recorded, I think, a song or two for them. And shit was great. I mean, it was fun. Like, it was, again, I was 19 years old, and just like, oh, it's a straight edge band. I'm playing a straight edge band from Reno, Nevada, like the fucking mecca of straight edge.
To this day, I've never been to Reno. I want to go out there at some point just to see what it's like.
Another city that I think is really cool. I thought Reno was really dope because it's a West Coast city. People don't really think about it like that, but it is a West Coast. It's further west technically than LA if you look at it on a map. But it's a West Coast city that gets 4 seasons. So like, their winter is not super brutal, their summer's not super brutal, their spring's not super brutal, unless everything's changed with the whatever. But it used to be a really rad city. I used to really enjoy spending time there. I would like get off of tour with Recon, and then I would immediately just fly to Reno just to kick it for a few weeks.
I used to frequent Las Vegas a lot, and there was always like a certain group of like, Reno kids that would come down. So I would always be like, man, these kids are down. These kids are dedicated to drive, like all the time to Las Vegas. And I just never made it out there. And obviously, like I was a fan of, AFB, and then one of the guys did or a couple of them did that band Code Red after that.
Yeah, so Alex, he did Code Red. I don't think Alex was in AFB. I don't know who else was in Code Red. Maybe Joe Foley. Joe played in the Mongoloids too. Joe also, I think he does some like more kind of like indie stuff now. But okay. Alex moved to Seattle. He does RJC. Regional Justice Center or whatever. That band fucking rips. And then they also did this band Wolf City after that.
Okay, I remember Wolf City.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Interesting times. Very interesting. Yep.
Okay. And going back to Recon, even though I said the last thing on Recon, but do you ever look at Rise Records? Because sometimes I'll go back and visit the label to see if if they have any new bands that I'm interested in. But
yeah. This might sound weird. I mean, Recon was Recon, right? We're a heavy band, mosh band, whatever you want to call it. I didn't really ever listen to that kind of music. I mean, I did, but it wasn't like, it was never my cup of tea. It was that, but early Recon, like our demos and stuff just kind of sounded like Mike, our famously would always say that like the goal was just to rip off Buried Alive and then just put breakdowns in it. And like, if you listen to our earliest stuff, that's really what it kind of sounded like. And so whoever was on Rise at the time, I never really listened to. I mean, we did a bunch of tour. We did like I think For the Fallen Dreams was on Rise.
Mhm.
When I think they were on they were on Rise. They had a cool record. Those dudes are awesome. We would tour with all these bands, and I could appreciate like what they were doing, but it's like, when I'd get back in the van, it would just be like, all right, like let's just listen to Master Killer again and go to the next show. You know what I mean? Even though we're on tour with like The Devil Wears Prada or something like that. But I never like the guy that owned Rise. His name is Craig. He was super dope. Did right by us. He was awesome. And yeah, that was really about it.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, because I always get bummed when I hear like horror stories about bands or labels that I enjoyed.
Dude, I mean, not to keep talking about Recon or anything like that, but like we didn't have a booking agent, we didn't have a manager, we didn't have anything. It was like we were really lucky. Justin, Closed Casket, put out our first EP, and then we signed a Rise. Craig put our record out, and we booked all of our own shit, all of our own tours and stuff like that. So as far as like where people kind of get tripped up, where like, oh, I had this like manager who took all my money, or this label who did this or did this, we just never really had any of that, which was pretty dope.
Was any of that ever offered to you guys?
Yeah, we kind of stupidly, we were supposed to record at the Machine Shop back in the day. That was like Will Putney's place, and we were like, nah, we're gonna record in Albany, where like all these Albany, the Skinless recorded and shit like that. And like our full-length record to me is unlistenable. I cannot listen to it. I think it's terrible. I think it sounds terrible. We were offered booking agencies and all that type of shit, but we were just like, no, we're good. Like, why would we need? We were recording our full length, and we got offered the Earth Crisis reunion tour, the first one that they did. My fucking brain exploded because they were like my favorite band ever. And so like we would just get offers like that. So we were like, I guess when we like need a booking agent, we'll get one, but we just never needed one.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I look at bands, and I'm like, why do you have a booking agent? Why do you have a manager? But then there's other times where I'm like, okay, I'm happy that there's like some organization going on. So it's not needed for every band, but sometimes I feel like it is necessary.
I would love that. I hate booking shows. I hate putting stuff together and everything like that.
Yeah, from experience, booking shows is it's not as fun as I thought it would be. Dealing with like
it's not fun at all.
Yeah, like having to deal with like, radius clause, or our manager doesn't want us to play, or just getting snaked for shows. So just a lot of things that you don't really account for till it happens, and you learn from experience. Okay. Never get. Yeah, we can't let that happen again.
Right.
But that's cool. I didn't realize. Like I said, when I was younger and listening to Recon when you guys were more active, I just didn't know how you guys actually operated. I just knew Recon was coming to California. I just hoped 13 was on the set list, and that's all I hope for. Other than that, I had a good time.
13's on every set
list. Okay, and outside of Missing Link, is there anything that you're doing more actively, like in terms of music?
I play in this band Eyeball with Kane from Vomit Forth, and Jay from Balmora plays guitar, and it's kind of like alternative-ish band. We don't really play that much, obviously, because Vomit Forth is like always gone.
Yeah, always on tour.
But we'll do that. I'm always like, I have this like recording shit at my house that I want to like do my own band, but I can't figure out how to hook it all up because I'm stupid. So I'll figure that out at some point. Yeah, there's always stuff in the works. There's always new projects to do and everything like that. So
Okay. And so currently you said you're in what, Western Mass?
Yeah, Western Mass, like Springfield, Holyoke-ish area.
Okay. And is there a band that people should be listening to that they might not be?
I don't know. I mean, dude, I probably sound like such a dick, dude, but there's so many cool bands that are coming out, that I listen to all the time, but like, I guess putting me on the spot listening to it, I have no idea. I'm sure there's a bunch of rad bands. Western Mass is pretty cool right now because they have this like smaller venue. If you're like a touring band and you're like, if you're doing a weekend, you're going on tour and you're like maybe the size of like my band or something like that, and you need like a show that's going to be rad, that'll pack out of like 150, 200 kids. They're booking shows in Holyoke here at this like small little like venue. This dude Zach and a couple of his buddies are doing shows and they're fucking killing it. And there's like one other venue here, but there's a lot of that like I don't know. There's a bunch of bands coming up from around here. So there's that band, Dom's new band, Final Resting Place, or kind of like death metal band.
Yes, yeah. I saw them floating around social media. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. They're pretty good. I like that. That's like my shit. So.
Okay. Well, I really do appreciate all the schedule switching and
yeah, it's all good.
So I really appreciate you working with me, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do the podcast today. But before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say?
No. We got a record coming out, and so it's summertime. And if you play drums, hit your drums hard.
All right. There it is. All right. Well, appreciate your time, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back soon. Goodbye.
Yeah.